So let's go ahead and take a look at this graph of f of x. And let's look at a couple of different values of x and take the limit as we approach these values from the right, the left, and then to see if they converge. So let's start with this point right here. X is equal to -4. And the first thing we're going to do is take the limit as x approaches -4 from the left-hand side of our function f of x. What is this equal to? Well, as we approach x is equal to -4, so -4 is right here. And as we approach from the left-hand side, it looks like this value is roughly equal to -1. And so we would say that this is equal to -1. How about taking the limit as x approaches 4 from the right-hand side of f of x? What is this equal to? So let's go ahead and approach -4 from the right-hand side, and this value also seems to be -1. So we'll say this is equal to -1. The limit as x approaches -4 in general then of f of x is going to be equal to -1 because the limit from the right and left is the same. If we go further and just say, well, what is the value of f of -4? We can look here and see that this value right here, well, this value in fact is going to be -1. Let's go ahead and do another point. Let's look at the point x is equal to -1. And that point is going to be right here. And so what is the limit as x approaches -1 from the left-hand side of f of x? What is this equal to? Well, as we approach x is equal to -1 from the left, we see that this value seems to be approaching the value of 2. And so we would say that this is equal to -2. How about the limit as x approaches -1 from the right-hand side of f of x? If we look at it from the right-hand side, and as we approach -1, it seems to be approaching the value of 3. And so we would say that this is equal to 3. And I apologize, that should be a positive 2. So now let's take the limit as x approaches -1 of f of x. We would say that this does not exist because, I'll write that here, because the limit as you approach from the right-hand side is not equal to the limit as you approach from the left-hand side. And let's go ahead and, just for fun, define, well, what is f of -1? F of -1, if we look at it, this is undefined. There is no value in red. There's no value of f of x for the value x is equal to -1. There's no value on this blue line right here. Let's go ahead and do this for another point. X is equal to 1. So at x is equal to 1, you probably are getting the hang of it by now. What is the limit as x approaches 1 from the left-hand side of f of x? What is this going to be equal to? Well, as we approach x is equal to 1 from the left, we see that this looks like it's going down, 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 down to -infinity. And so we would say that this is -infinity. How about the limit as x approaches 1 from the right-hand side? And here we see as we approach x is equal to 1 from the right, it tends to go up, up, up to +infinity. And so we would say this is +infinity. So now if we take the limit as x approaches 1 of f of x, we would say this does not exist. Again, because the left-hand limit is not the same as the right-hand limit. If we go ahead and figure out, well, what is f of 1, we see that this is undefined as well. We'll do that in red. This is undefined as well because we have an asymptote right here. Asymptote.